Hello, my friends. I hope you're having a great day and a great holiday weekend. How are you feeling about it being the end of November? I just had my 25th birthday and I love the holiday season so much because it's my birthday, then it's Thanksgiving, then it's Christmas, and then it's Zach's birthday on New Year's Eve. So it's always like a really fun time for us. Obviously super hectic and like really tiring, but we always have so much fun food and always have like a lot of really good drinks. So I'm very excited for the rest of this year, but I'm also a little bit sad that the end of fall has come and now it's kind of getting into winter. Oh, that's fine. Today I want to talk about when to stop rendering your work. Like, when are you done? When should you be done with a piece? I think this is such an interesting concept because it's intuitive, but there are a couple things I keep in mind that I want to talk to you about, and I think they're going to be helpful for you. First off, I wanted to say thank you so much to the sponsor of this video, which is Dossier. Dossier is having their huge Black Friday sale for the month of November. It's going to be linked down in the description. I love Dossier perfumes because they are inspired by designer perfumes, but at a fraction of the price. My latest perfumes are Powdery Tobacco and Ambery Cherry. Powdery Tobacco is inspired by Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille, and Ambery Cherry is inspired by Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. Ambery Cherry is such a delicious scent. Dossier is doing sales up to 55% off this month. Check the description for more information. Thank you so much to Dossier for sponsoring this video. Let's talk about when to continue rendering and when you should stop rendering for a piece. The main point that I want to make here is sunk cost fallacy and intentionality. Recently, when I've been working on pieces, I place great emphasis on planning a piece, coming up with a concept, coming up with beautiful imagery that I can create, and spending more time on a painting than I used to. So because there's so much intentionality in a piece, there's a lot of intentionality behind the details that I add, down to colors, backgrounds, supporting imagery, as well as the facial expression, obviously, details in the clothing, etc. Something important to note is when I'm spending a lot of time crafting a concept and crafting a painting, there is a lot of work that is put into the actual brainstorming and thought behind a piece, as well as the execution. And something that I find with my own pieces is I'll have pieces that I want to be part of my portfolio, and then there's pieces that are sort of practice paintings. Smaller pieces, studies, even things that I kind of draw for fun, or at the end of the day are not something I would add to my portfolio. And I think there's an important distinction between these two types of pieces. I've talked about this before. I think it's important to complete the whole painting process for even unimportant paintings, as well as larger scale pieces, obviously, because if you are constantly starting the sketching process but not finishing out the rendering process for your paintings, a lot of times your rendering skills will be much poorer than your sketching skills because you're not spending as much time rendering or adding details. While I think it's important to finish and render even unimportant pieces, I think there is a balance to set there because you can't devote all the time in the world to rendering a piece, especially if it's something you're doing for fun or it's supposed to even be a quick study. You have to pace yourself and not invest too much time into rendering one of those practice pieces, for lack of a better term. In this piece today, I would consider this a practice or a for fun or a study painting. This is not my finest work and it's not something that I want to put in my portfolio, but it's also okay to have those pieces and to have pieces that are not insanely rendered and insanely beautiful because you're still learning in the process of creating, and that's valuable. For this piece specifically, there was a point where I was feeling myself working on the painting and I knew that it wasn't going to take the direction that I specifically wanted the piece to take. At the end of the day, I would love for this piece to be as beautiful as the pieces that I spend lots of time ideating, but truthfully this was just a fun practice throwaway piece, for lack of a better term. For a piece like this, I think it's important to find value in one specific element that you're working on. For example, for me, I was really interested in playing with the contrast between the skin, the eyes, and the lips, like the bright fair skin with bright red lips and dark contrasted eyes. I think in this piece what's successful is the contrast I've achieved and not quite so much the details in the background or the rendering in the clothing or the composition. For me, this painting has some successful elements and some elements that kind of fail. What I wanted to accomplish with this piece was to work on the contrast in the face, the subtleties in the shadows, as well as the bright colors behind the lips and the cheeks, and I think I accomplished that goal. My advice for you, if you're kind of in the same situation, is if you have a piece like the one I'm kind of describing, there is value in finding a goal and rendering to achieve that goal. But apart from achieving that goal, I don't think it's important to spend a lot of time rendering all of the details in the painting just to call it complete. I think it's okay to have parts that are sketchy and kind of undone, like the dress in this instance could use so much more rendering. The background galaxy could use so much more rendering. The hair. At the end of the day, I think the piece is fine the way that it is because I achieved my small goal for it. When you have a much larger piece that you've invested a lot of time into creating the idea for and the composition, it's important to discipline yourself into rendering and working on details to the best of your ability, taking breaks when you feel tired or bored of the image. But for something like this, I think it's important to quit while you're ahead and to not invest too much time into something that is not necessarily at the end of the day going to be in your portfolio or something that you're so proud to display. I think there's still value in creating, even if it's not going to be like your most perfect work or your next masterpiece. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.